Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Tires for Overlanding.
And for this episode, we review tire pressures for overland travel.
Okay, so how do we select a tire pressure for driving on the trail? Once we've left a paved road or a gravel road, we want to go ahead and air our tires down to improve traction and to reduce the impact to the terrain, and also significantly improve the rider comfort. And we do that by either starting with the rim diameter. So this is a 17-inch rim. So we'll drop the tire pressure down to 17 PSI. Or we're gonna go with the manufacturer's recommended tire pressure and cut that in half. So if it's a 50 PSI recommended tire pressure, we would bring that down to 25. So you're either gonna take it down to the equivalent of the rim diameter or half the recommended tire pressure, whichever is greater. But then there's also gonna be times when we need even lower pressure. And that's gonna be in deep sand dunes, and in really deep snow. And in that case, you may go as low as half of that number again. So with this being a 17-inch wheel, we could go down to 8 or 9 PSI for that maximum flotation in those deep conditions. So one of the keys to performance in the sand and on the rocks is airing down the tire. And as we can see, this is a tire that's nearly at street pressure, and it's sitting up very high on the rock. We have very little deformation of the carcass, and we can see that the tire is only touching the rock at the very top here. So there's a lot of empty space between the tire and the rock. And that means that we're not getting a lot of deformation and mechanical keying to the rock surface. All right, we can see how this tire has wrapped completely around the rock, not only for the tread length, but also the tread width. 80% of the deformation of a tire carcass occurs on the tread length and only 20% on the tread width. So when a tire is at full pressure, it's like as if your hand is sitting on the surface, only touching the rock in this point. As we start to deform, it's like a rock climber. We can actually wrap around the rock and get a lot more leverage.
When airing down, we have to be mindful of our driver inputs. Because the tires are at a lower pressure, we want to be careful to not put too strong of a steering put in, especially when we're in the dunes. That can cause, at low pressures, the tire to roll off the bead of the wheel. Now, there are wheels that are available, like a bead lock, but most travelers don't use those. So once we get the tire pressure down about half of the recommended manufacturer's tire pressure, we have the chance of the bead coming off of the wheel at those more aggressive steering inputs. Overall, lowering tire pressures is a powerful tool. It's the one thing that we can do to our vehicle that improves performance without costing any money. When we get the tires lower, we get better grip on the rocks. We also get better flotation in the snow, the sand, and the mud. And those lower pressures will also improve rider comfort and reduce driver fatigue. But then we also have to remember that we need to air back up at the end of the day. So bringing a compressor along will make all the difference.